Peace, family. It's your brother Chase back at you again with another reactionary video. And check it out, man. We got a real good one today. We got a Caribbean woman who is referring to foundational Black Americans as beggars for demanding our reparations and other things to go along with it. And shout out to Brother Rich from Black Magic 363. Make sure y'all go subscribe to his channel. He's gonna be giving her some pushback. He's gonna be getting a little straightening. He's going to be getting a little checking in. So we're going to react to it. We're going to break it down. We're going to add some context, of course, for educational purposes to help empower foundational Black Americans. So when you run across these talking points, you don't believe them. All right. It's your brother Chase. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, man, let's go ahead and get straight into it.
As far as you all know, as mentioned, I was born here in the States, but both my parents are Caribbean. So I'm not what you would call foundational Black. But as I was just explaining to a sister of mine, we are all...
And by the way, family, I'm going to apologize early. So he did this on a live stream. So she's going to be skipping a little bit and different things of that nature. So don't think it's this video. You know, it's the video we're reacting to.
United in this disproportionate disarrangement, disruption of our culture. And although we may have good intentions of wanting to build the identity of Americans here in this country, because a lot has been withheld, that doesn't mean that we have to be divided and that we have to be torn apart. Like, at the end of the day, everyone went through trauma. Jamaicans, a lot of trauma in the slave trade. A lot of that. That's where buck breaking came from. So it's not a matter of if you're not foundational Black, then you shouldn't have this or you shouldn't have that. Because just because someone else's trauma isn't the same as yours, that doesn't mean it's not valid.
No. Number one, let's break this down, family. What many of these Black immigrants like to do, especially the tether class, is they like to project their insecurities onto us. So they like to use a lot of shaming techniques. So what she's trying to do is saying, hey, well, don't you know there was slavery in the Caribbean? You know, they like to say, oh, don't you know there was colonization in Africa? We all went through something. Okay, and that's their way of trying to crowbar their way in on our reparations claim. Well, we had slavery in Jamaica. It's this entitlement thing that because something happened to them in their homeland and they had to flee and they got chased out, that whatever we get over here, they're entitled to. Okay, and we got to check that. Okay, what happened to you in your country was horrible, a horrific thing, but fight for your reparations back home like CARICOM is doing. Don't try to crowbar your way in on our reparations claim that happened here in the United States of America. Your ancestors weren't enslaved in the United States of America. Your ancestors' hard blood, sweat, and tears did not go towards building the United States of America. It went towards building Jamaica and some of those other European countries. Britain, holler at Britain. Don't try to say, oh, well, damn, I got into an accident over here, so I need some of your claim too. Okay, let's just merge our claims together. No. Fight your oppressors, fight for reparations in the Caribbean island, and fight your oppressors to get that reparations money from Britain. Like I said, we can't fall for that anymore. This entitlement thing where if we're not crashing out for them, if we're not putting them in on all of our little claims and every little movement we got going, then all of a sudden, oh, they view it as a slight. No. We're not doing that anymore. But let's continue.
But what we need to remember is by asking and begging for reparations or permission for anything, or even saying with the Essence Fest, oh, you're showing other cultures and you're not standing on the cultures that really started this event, you are disproportionately cutting yourself out from the bigger picture. You are stifling your own self. And you are always stronger when you are together. When you divide yourself and you go into conflict and then you go begging other people for things to give you freedom, that's going to keep you in the horrible loop that got you stuck here in the first place.
Lord, hold on. And let me reaffirm this again. Number one, we are not begging for reparations. We are simply demanding reparations for a debt that is owed. These tethers, they love to use these shaming tactics. You're begging. You're begging. You're begging. No, begging is what you were doing at the border. Begging is what y'all do for these green cards. Begging is what you do when ICE shows up. That's begging. What we're doing is we're demanding a debt that is owed to us. And we're standing on that. Ask the Democratic Party. See, we weren't begging them. We were like, hey, either you come with reparations in the form of cash payments for foundational Black Americans, or you lose the election. They thought we were bluffing. They lost the election. Plain and simple. You dig? These are our demands, and we're going to get our reparations. These are demands, and this is the debt that is owed to us. Okay? Now, you can say, I'm not going to meet the demands. I'm not going to pay it. Well, don't come asking us for anything. All right? Don't come asking us for anything. Same thing goes for you tethers. You tethers, you sit up here and you try to undermine reparations. You sit up here and want to shame us, stop begging, stop being a victim. Okay, so when ICE comes knocking at your door, and your family member's door, don't come begging us for anything. Quit being a victim. That's what we're going to start telling you. And that's what we've been telling y'all. Quit being a victim. Okay, because every time we want to fight for something that's specific to us, they want to use these shaming tactics talking about we're begging and playing the victim. Also, number two, they love to play this game of unity. Every time we start fighting for something that's specific to us, every time we start gatekeeping our culture, she brought up Essence Fest, they love to play this game of fake unity. Oh, well, you're cutting yourself off from the broader picture. What's the broader picture? What's the broader picture? Let me ask these tethers this, because to these tethers, the broader picture is us doing for them. That's the broader picture. See, we must do for the diaspora. We can't do anything for ourselves. We have to do for them all the time. Okay? Meanwhile, when we do for them, they get off code. Meanwhile, when we sacrifice for them, when we sit up here and crash out for them, they come over here and start undermining what we're fighting for. They come over here and start calling us beggars. They come over here and start talking about we got the victim mentality. We need to stop begging. What are you talking about? So we said, no. We're not going for that anymore, family. I also feel like it's ironic that a lot of these tethers, they sit up here and try to lecture us on unity. They sit up here and try to lecture us on coming together and what we need to do to unify and X, Y, and Z. And none of these folks, I tell y'all this all the time, none of them are unified in their homelands. All of their homelands are in shambles. They don't get along. Hell, they got not only tribalism, but classism and all type of different stuff going on in the Caribbean islands, going on in Africa, X, Y, and Z. They can't unify to save their lives. And then when they get over here, they become Harvard PhD professors on unity. They're going to wag their finger and lecture us on unity. This is what y'all don't understand. You playing the victim mentality. Nigga, shut up. Use all that PhD, Harvard, Pan-African unity to unify your homeland. Use that knowledge, wisdom, information to go home and unify your homeland. And then once you unify your homeland, then we can have a conversation. Until then, shut the hell up and be grateful for foundational Black Americans who made it possible for you to live in this nation, even though you sacrificed nothing for it. But let's continue.
Today, right now, if you don't like what someone is doing, you don't have to participate. I know the line.
Okay, she just said translate because it started freezing. She just said basically that if we don't like it, she's speaking about the Essence Fest. If we don't like what they're doing, we don't have to participate. Okay, that's what she said.
Was presented before you went to Essence Fest. I know that things were laid out before you chose to go out there. There are so many other Black music festivals that are happening that would appreciate our support. But in this day and age, you have choices. And when you're ignorant, you are choosing to be ignorant because there's so much information out there.
Okay, hold on. Let's break this down because I think this is very important. She said that, and I've heard a lot of Black immigrants say this, and tethers especially, that if we didn't like Essence Fest, just don't go. I agree 100% with that. I agree 100% with that. And they didn't go. Remember, Essence Fest flopped this year. I've seen videos and images of half-empty arenas, vendors out there, the lack of vendors coming this year, a lot of vendors canceling X, Y, and Z. Okay, a lot of controversy, a lot of complaints, even with the performers like Miss Stephanie Mills, our FBA sister, a legend out there. She was complaining. So let's be clear. A lot of foundational Black Americans didn't like what they saw and didn't show up. Okay. And a lot of people are saying they won't be showing up in the future unless we see some changes in leadership and management, in the mission and the goal, the true goal of Essence Fest. All right. So a lot of foundational Black Americans did take that opportunity. However, they came on as well to make sure they made it public. Okay. Because that's what you do on a public platform. Okay. You voice your complaints. That's what we as foundational Black Americans do. We actually utilize our voices to call out what we don't like. Also, I've heard a lot of Black immigrants and tethers when it comes to Essence Festival, like her, start talking about, well, they own it. If these groups of people own it, they can do what they want to it, and that's our choice whether we want to go or not. We're being willfully ignorant. There's also a two-sided coin to that, because a lot of y'all have been running around talking about, well, they own it, they own it. Cool, no problem. You own it, okay? You can do what you want with it. When Essence Fest crashes and burns under your African and Caribbean leadership and ownership, own that too. Don't sit around and turn around and blame FBAs. Okay? You did what you wanted to with it. You put your culture on it and it failed. Own that. But let's continue.
I didn't come from a rich background. I grew up in a single mother household. I had oppression from religion, and I had to overcome a lot of things. I had an abusive marriage. I had all types of stuff going on. I was a teenage mom. I didn't graduate high school. I could easily still be in the hood and in the ghetto. But I chose to rewrite my story. And instead of asking anyone for permission, I took control of my life. So we don't need reparations because everything is out there for you to get. Everything's out there for you to get.
Hey, oh Lord, hold on. You know what I never hear these tethers say? I never hear these tethers say when they're stuck in their homeland, we don't need to flee. Nope, we don't need to flee. We just need to quit being lazy, pick ourselves up by our bootstraps, and fix our homeland. Have you ever heard a tether say that? These tethers never say that, okay? They always get over here and start talking about what we need to do. Oh, you need to just shut up, quit being a victim, and pick yourself up by your bootstraps and just work hard so you can be a success like me. And that leads to another thing. These folks always sit up here and act like they have these big success stories. Have you noticed that, family? Don't let these Black immigrants fool you. Don't let these tethers fool you. They sit up here and act like they're so successful. These motherfuckers ain't no successful than anybody else. These are average citizens. They're doing average jobs. They got a basic 9 to 5. They got a family, and they living in a basic house or a basic apartment. These folks be sitting up here acting like they Oprah Winfrey or something, like they're $1 billion success stories. Do y'all know this woman, family? And what's her name? Ascending Infinity Goddess. Do y'all know her? Is she some big entrepreneur? Is she doing so much for the Black community? No, this is a normal, average, everyday woman. Okay? And that's the thing about, like I say, a lot of these tethers, they get over here, they get a 2020 Toyota Corolla that they lease through Uber for their Uber driving, and then they get a basic apartment and they sit up here, start wagging their finger. Look at me. Look at me. You just got to get over the victim mentality. They start wagging their finger trying to lecture us. Nigga, if you don't take that 2020 Toyota Corolla and get out my face, you dig? These folks be sitting up here acting like they're just so revolutionary. Oh my God, I did so much. I was a single mother and I didn't have a high school diploma. Man, it's a million FBAs with the same story who are just as quote unquote successful as you are. See, that's a flex for them coming from their homeland. Their bar is set so low coming from their homeland where many of them are making less than $2 an hour. When they get over here and start making $15 an hour, they start wagging their finger and acting like they're doing something. These folks aren't doing anything. You dig? And I wish they would take that pick your whole self up by your bootstraps, that whole you don't deserve begging mentality. I wish they would take that and keep that in their homeland. Okay? Why can't you why ain't your bootstraps working in your homeland? You dig? Why ain't you this super hard worker and fixing your homeland? Why don't see no skyscrapers in Jamaica since you building everything when you come over here? and your mentality is so great when you come over here. You dig? Stop the cap, man. Because the bottom line is, when it comes down to it, many of y'all wouldn't be shit if it wasn't for the sacrifices of foundational Black Americans. And I'm standing on that. But let's continue, and let's see what our brother Rich got to say. Shout out to brother Rich, because this is how you should check shit on the spot.
Spending. Why do you keep saying we when you're not foundational to this country? Imagine if I go to your country and I tell. Imagine if I go to.
Okay, hold on.
No, listen. Okay, where your parents from? Where your parents from? A son and infinite God. Where your parents from?
My parents are from Jamaica, but I never was raised in Jamaica.
All right, so let me say this: you're first generation over here. Imagine if my son, I moved to Jamaica, and then my son is in Jamaica, right? So he's like the first generation that his whole life since 2 years old or whatever is in Jamaica. Imagine if he start telling the Jamaicans, we don't need this, we don't need that. You come across as very arrogant, extremely arrogant. You just got here yesterday and you telling us who been here since the 1817 whatever what we need. Maybe that's what you don't need. But how you gonna tell me what we need? I would never go to your land. This is an honest, and I'm not trying to single you out, but you were so bold. You're so bold in what you're saying. Then the energy is going to get returned to you. Why would my son go to Jamaica? And my girl is half Jamaican. Why would my son go to Jamaica and tell the Jamaicans, we don't need this, we don't need that? They will kick his Black American ass the fuck out of Jamaica. You know that, right?
Here's the difference.
Who do you think you are coming here telling us what we? Like, that's crazy. You don't think that? That's the question. You don't think that?
And shout out to brother Rich for that question. Shout out for him for checking that on the spot. Because see, we've allowed, and this is where we got to hold ourselves accountable, and we have to make the adjustments that our ancestors didn't. Shout out to our ancestors. Our ancestors were trying to do a beautiful thing with Pan-Africanism. But this is a product. She is the product of years of unchecked behavior from our elders in the Pan-African community. No disrespect to our elders. I love our elders. But for years, they let this mentality go unchecked. And now you have this first generation. You have the descendants of these disrespectful immigrants. Because I guarantee you, if you talk to her parents, they probably think the same things about foundational Black Americans. She's the product of decades of unchecked behavior, coming over here, talking shit about foundational Black Americans and talking very disrespectful towards foundational Black Americans. And now our generation, we're checking it, family. We saying, no. We not letting that skate by no more. All that disrespect, tether talk, we not letting it check by no more under the names of Pan-Africanism. Okay? You're going to have to get on code or get gone. Because like Brother Rich said, if he was to take his son and his wife, and his son is half FBA, take his son and move to Jamaica, if he was to move to Jamaica, grow up in Jamaica, was raised in Jamaica, and started turning his nose down the native Jamaicans who made it possible for him to live there, for him to grow there, okay, for him to take advantage of the opportunities that were there, and he was to go to CARICOM and tell CARICOM, stop being beggars, stop being victims, tell them and wag their finger at them and tell them what you ain't never gonna get, his son will leave Jamaica in a body bag. Respectfully speaking, they would whoop his ass in Jamaica, like Brother Rich said. But we have allowed this for decades, the disrespect of these Black immigrants coming here, getting off code and telling us what we do and do not deserve. And we've been letting this disrespect go on because we've been trying to be Pan-Africanists. And this is what it gets you. You showing them the utmost respect, you letting everything slide, and they're disrespecting you to the utmost degree. She would never say that to her Jamaican family. They don't say nothing about CARICOM over there. You don't hear nothing about how CARICOM is divisive, how CARICOM, they're just begging. You don't hear any pushback. They sit up here and clap their hands and stump their feet and praise CARICOM. The moment we fight for something, here they go wagging their finger after they didn't fled. You dig? Shout out to Brother Rich. Let's hear her response though, okay? Because it's tether babble.
So as I started, Jamaica also had slavery ingrained in the history. What I'm saying is there's opportunities where, and I say we because I was born in America. I
You
was
just
raised
got
in
here
America.
yesterday.
FBA.
You just got here yesterday. You know that, right?
Right.
If that's how you want to interpret it.
Shout out to Professor Griff. Shout out to our Steve Elder, Professor Griff. Okay, he's laughing. He's like, he's cooking your ass right now. Yes, she just got here yesterday. Do y'all see why we had to delineate, family? Okay, see, because you had her, because she thinks, let's be clear, she thinks she can speak on our lineage and what we do and do not deserve because she was simply born here. Now, both of her parents are from the Caribbean islands. But she thinks that she can speak on us because she was simply born here. Okay. And that's what we started catching on to. We started saying, hold on. Who are these people talking down on reparations? Who are these people calling us lazy and saying what we do and do not deserve? Who are these people every time we call out systematic white supremacy, they talk about, oh, quit being a victim? Who are these people? And we start looking into their background. Oh, okay, you grew up in a Jamaican household. You grew up in a Nigerian household. You grew up in a Ghanaian household. Your lineage doesn't trace back to those plantations. Because usually foundational Black Americans, for the most part, we're on code. And even amongst our coon class, we know who they are. So when random people just pop up talking crazy, we like, okay, who is this dude? Who is this woman? You did? This is why we had to delineate, because you had people like her representing us. And I'm guessing, and I'm pretty sure she refers to herself as a Black American because she was simply born here. Okay, but both of her parents are Caribbean. See, when you don't come from that FBA lineage, we ain't the same. And this is why we call out that whole BS example, that whole BS police example. A lot of people like to come to us, a lot of Pan-Africans like to say, well, if the police pull you over, they're not going to ask if you FBA. They're not going to ask her if she Caribbean. We understand that. We understand white supremacy in the police department. They see us all as one big nigga. But what y'all fail to realize is folks like her, they don't view the system of white supremacy. They don't view the police the same way foundational Black Americans view the police because they're not of this lineage. They don't have the same connection and tied to this land. Okay? Let's be clear. If one of these police officers shoot and unalive us, she gonna be talking about, well, you should have picked up your pants. You dig? You should have just did what they told you to do. You dig? Every time we're trying to get a debt that is owed, every time we're calling out the system of white supremacy, people like her are talking about, oh, you need to stop with the victim mentality. See, we might be skin folk, but we ain't kin folk. We come from completely different families, completely different lineages, and completely different mindsets, family. This is a perfect example of why we had to delineate. But let's continue.
If that's how you want to interpret it, that's fine. That's fine. But as I was raised with the history, with the knowledge that I was given, that I overcame the oppression. I came out of the victim mentality.
Whoa.
Because again, it wasn't just Americans or Africans that experienced the slave trade. That's what I'm trying to hint at. And and on your channel,
right,
we all are aware of our power, of our ability.
Yeah, I agree. Yes.
So moving out of the consciousness of they owe us this and they need to give us that, it's the same carrot and stick. It's the same carrot and stick. So if it's been dangled in front of foundational Black Americans, since I can't say us, right?
Because you're not
since it's been dangled in front of foundational Black Americans for years, for eons, then something different has to be done. And in this day and age, we as a humanity, as a collective, have the ability to take control over all of that. Oh. Because at the end of the day, your oppressor is not going to give you your freedom.
I see. Okay. I see. I disagree with you, but I see your point.
Okay. Shout out to Brother Rich. He said, I disagree, but I see your point. Let me go ahead and respond to her last little closing babble. This is another reason why we're different. Their mentality when they get over here, even when they're born here, but when they grow up in these non-FBA household, is a very defeated mentality. Well, the white man ain't gave it to you. He ain't gonna give it to you. He ain't gave it to you yet. So why you keep complaining about it? Why you keep this? Nigga, we don't give a damn if the white man ain't gave it to us yet. We don't give a damn if it take 50 years, if it take 100 years, if it take 150 years. That's what we understood when we learned our history about our ancestors. Our ancestors were on that plantations. They were fighting systematic white supremacy and the end of enslavement for 300 years damn near. Our ancestors and our ethnogenesis happened in 1526. They didn't break them shackles and chains until 1865, but they kept fighting. See, that's the difference between us and y'all. White man tell you, no, you go ball in a corner. You flee, you run. Oh shit, man, white man ain't never gonna give us nothing. He tell us no, we'll say we come back tomorrow. Hey man, what's up with them reparations? Oh nigga, I'm not gonna give you those reparations. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. We come back tomorrow. Hey man, what's up with those reparations? Damn it, I'm not gonna give you no reparations. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Hey man, what's up with them reparations? We're gonna keep going and keep going, and we're gonna stay consistent. We're gonna keep hitting them upside the head, and by any means necessary, we're gonna get what we are owed. Because our ancestors taught us that. Our ancestors taught us, man, you don't just quit when these folks tell you to stay on the plantation, tell you ain't never gonna get off, family. You think our ancestors didn't hear that when they were on the plantation? Man, you ain't never gonna get off the plantation. Quit being a victim. You just need to work hard in this field and show the white man what you can do. Man, bump all that, nigga. Hey, man, we riding on the 22nd. Is you sliding or what? That was the mentality. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep fighting until we get off this plantation. And when we get off the plantation, we ain't going to stop fighting then, because now we got to fight for our resources. Okay? Now we got to fight for the piece of the pie. Now we got to fight for reparations. Now we got to fight for integration. Now we got to build our own towns. Okay? People kept saying, hey, man, foundational Black Americans, you ain't never, man, these folks ain't never going to let you integrate into their society. You ain't never going to be able to go to that school. You ain't never going to be able to get that degree. You ain't never going to get no civil rights. You ain't never going to get the right to vote. Our ancestors said, bet. We don't care how long it takes. That's our mentality. We have a fighting lineage. We have fighting blood. We don't have fleeing blood. See, you got that fleeing blood. The fleeing blood, anytime there's any level of resistance, these fleers do what they do best, and they run away from it. And not only run away from it, but they try to rub that fleeing mentality off on us. Hey, man, why you rocking the boat? That's what she sounds like. Why y'all rocking the boat? As humanity, we had slavery in Jamaica. We had slavery all these other places. Why y'all acting like y'all the only one that was enslaved? We're not acting like we're the only one enslaved. We're just fighting back. We're fighting back for what happened to our ancestors, like you should be doing for your ancestors. Okay? So FBA family, man, don't let these folks run these con games on you. Don't let them run these shaming tactics on you. Don't let these tethers get in your head and make us think we're doing something wrong for standing on business. Okay? You do what Brother Rich did. Shout out to Brother Rich. Again, go follow him, Black Magic 363 on YouTube. We can go watch the full video. He did a whole live about the Essence Fest, which pretty much turned into the delineation of foundational Black Americans, X, Y, and Z. So, man, make sure you go check him out, family. But stand on business every time, family. This is doing great things. We are doing great things because we're calling out people like this, and we're distancing ourselves from the tether class and people who look to undermine us and sabotaging us. And we're seeing it for what it is. So much so that we got brothers like Brother Rich out here calling out in others. Okay? But like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's your brother Chase, Foundational Black Americans. You are phenomenal people. You already know what it is. Click that link in the bio. Get the 30 Black Wall Streets the mainstream media never told you about on Amazon. And until next time, family, comment below. Peace and Black power. I'm out.